They tried to silence her voice, but the truth screamed louder. Studio microphone. Before we dive in, take a deep breath because this one will make your heart pound. This story isn't just about a school. It's about truth, power, and how far people will go to silence a voice that refuses to bow. So before you hear what they did to her, hit that subscribe button. Because here, on the Untold Struggles, we tell the stories they don't want you to hear. The sun rose over Ridgewood High, painting the old brick walls in gold. Students shuffled through the courtyard, laughing, scrolling through their phones, but one girl walked with purpose. Her name was Aaliyah Johnson, a 16-year-old junior, straight-A student, debate captain, and one of the few black students in the school's gifted program. She was known for her calm confidence, but lately, that calm had been tested. Rumors had been spreading, unfair treatment, favoritism and grading, and the quiet silencing of voices that dared to question authority. And when Aaliyah saw her best friend Maria crying in the hallway after being humiliated by a teacher, something in her snapped. That day, during the morning assembly, Aaliyah stood up. No permission, no warning, just truth. Aaliyah, firmly, if we're a school that believes in fairness, then why do we treat some students like they don't belong? The gym went silent. Heads turned. Even the principal, Mr. Whitman, looked up from his clipboard, stunned. Mr. Whitman, Ms. Johnson, this is not the time. Aaliyah, then when is the time, sir? It was bold, daring, unplanned, but necessary. When she sat down, the applause was scattered, but real. And yet, she didn't know that one act of courage would soon be twisted into an act of defiance. The next morning, an email hit her parents' inbox. Aaliyah Johnson has been suspended for 3 days due to disruptive behavior during an official school assembly. Her mother, Monica, froze. Her father, James, a former journalist, clenched his jaw. Monica, suspended? For what? Speaking her mind. James, no, for threatening their comfort. They stormed into the principal's office the next day. The fluorescent lights flickered as Mr. Whitman sat behind his desk, hands folded, a forced smile on his face. Mr. Whitman, we encourage student voices, but this was inappropriate. Monica, inappropriate is watching kids get treated unfairly and doing nothing. James, so let's be clear, my daughter didn't break any rules. She broke silence. But the principal was unmoved. He spoke softly, the kind of calm that hides guilt. Mr. Whitman, actions have consequences. As they left, Aaliyah noticed something strange. Teachers whispering, glances that lingered too long. And on her locker, written in chalk, troublemaker. That's when she realized this wasn't just about discipline. It was about control. If you're still watching this story, then you already know Aaliyah's fight isn't just hers. It's every young person who's been told to sit down and stay quiet. So hit that subscribe button right now, because part 3 is where the truth begins to unravel. Days turned into whispers, whispers into warnings. Then came the shocker. A student named Devin, who worked in the school's media club, found something, an internal email between the principal and a board member. We need to make an example of this student. If we don't, others might start questioning authority. Devin sent it to Aaliyah anonymously, just a screenshot, and signed untraceable. But it was enough. Aaliyah, reading aloud, make an example of this student. Monica, in disbelief they planned this. The Johnson family decided silence was no longer an option. James, ever the journalist, began documenting everything. Meetings, phone calls, letters. He recorded his conversations and started connecting the dots. He discovered that this wasn't the first time a student was punished for speaking up. There had been at least 3 others, all quietly transferred or expelled over the last 2 years. James, grimly, this is bigger than Aaliyah. This is a pattern. A week later, Monica posted their story online, a simple post titled, "Suspended for Speaking Up, Our Daughter's Story." Within hours, it spread. Parents began commenting with their own experiences. Students shared screenshots of favoritism and intimidation. A former teacher even reached out, anonymously, confirming that the administration managed dissent quietly. News outlets started calling. Local reporters wanted interviews. And suddenly, the same principal who had silenced Aaliyah was facing a storm he couldn't control. At school, students started wearing pins that said, "Let her speak." Even teachers began murmuring support. But with support came fear, the kind that grows when truth threatens power. Mr. Whitman began holding emergency meetings, claiming false narratives were spreading. Yet, every denial only fueled more anger. "Monica, you called her defiant. We called her brave." The school boardroom was packed, cameras flashing, voices rising. Aaliyah sat between her parents, trembling but resolute. The board chair cleared her throat. "Board chair, Aaliyah Johnson, we're reviewing the circumstances of your suspension." James, interrupting, "We're not here for review. We're here for accountability." The room gasped. James stood, holding up the printed email. "James, this was written by your principal. Your own staff wanted to destroy a child's reputation for telling the truth." Murmurs erupted. Reporters scribbled. Cameras zoomed in. Mr. Whitman's face paled. "Mr. Whitman, this is out of context." "Aaliyah, no, sir. This is the context." The crowd broke into applause. Tears streamed down Monica's face as she gripped her daughter's hand. But just when it seemed like victory was near, the board chair dropped a bombshell. "Board chair, Mr. Whitman, please step outside. We need to discuss new evidence regarding misuse of funds." The room fell silent. Aaliyah turned to her parents. Aaliyah, whispering new evidence? "James, I told you, baby, the truth always multiplies." A week later, the story had gone viral. Student exposes principal was trending online. Interviews poured in. Other schools began reporting similar incidents. But one night, James received an envelope under their front door. No name, just a symbol of Ridgewood High. Inside, a flash drive. And a note. "You were right, but you don't know how deep it goes." James hesitated, looking at Monica. Then he plugged it in. What played on the screen made his stomach drop. It wasn't just emails. It was financial records, board discussions, and evidence that the administration had been hiding disciplinary discrepancies for years, targeting certain students by race and economic background. Aaliyah, watching over his shoulder, whispered, "Aaliyah, so it wasn't just me." "James, no, sweetheart. It was everyone like you." Monica placed her hand on Aaliyah's shoulder, tears in her eyes. "Monica, they thought they could silence one voice. But now the whole city's listening." And as the screen faded to black, a news notification pinged on James's phone. "Breaking, Ridgewood High principal resigns amid ongoing investigation." He exhaled, but before he could celebrate, another alert popped up. "Anonymous source. More files to be released. This isn't over." Studio microphone. And that is where part 2 begins. Studio microphone. If this story hit your heart, if you believe no child should be punished for speaking the truth, then don't scroll away. Hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe to the Untold Struggles. Because next time, we uncover what that flash drive really held.